Welcome back, I'm Kimberly, and this is video 4 in our 5-part series introducing people to the art of floral design, floral arranging, and it's really for those of you who have never tried this before, but who have access to things in the garden, things around the home that you might want to use. Today we're going to revisit one of the containers that we looked at in the second video of the series, and that's the square vase where we started to put together a grid to make it easier for us to keep our plant material in place. Remember, we're doing this based on things you've got around the home, not anything that you need to go out and buy. I'm also going to show you how to use the lazy Susan, the turntable. I talked about that in the first video when we looked at the tools that we need to use. So if you're a cake decorator, or if you've got one of these that's been sitting in the back of the cupboard because you've not any use for it anymore, you haven't got a dining table big enough, whatever it is, drag it out and start to use it, because when you're designing something that is going to be viewed all around, say you put it in the middle of a table in your entryway or on the dining room table or somewhere like that, you want to make sure that the design looks interesting all around. It doesn't have to look the same all around, but it needs to look interesting all around. That said, if you haven't got a turntable, it doesn't matter. All you need to do is turn the design around so that you look at it from all angles, or do it on a table where you can walk around and see it from all angles. So let's get started. I've done the first 3 parts of the grid. I'm going to now show you something that you can do with this to give you a little bit more room when you're doing the design. So obviously that when we do the other row of tape, that's going to give us quite narrow squares to put our plant material in. So what you do is pinch it together. It gives you a little bit more space to fill. And we'll put the other side across. Maybe, I know. I'm only going to do 2 because I know the size of the stems that I'm using is quite large. So I don't want the area to be too small. So that's our grid, and we'll use these spaces to get our plant material in, and that will hold it in place. It also gives you the opportunity to change out your design. If your flowers go off clearly, or if you don't like the look of it, whatever else it is, you can just pull out the areas, and it's not going to destroy the whole design. You can chop and change it and get used to using this as a system of design. Obviously we've got tape around the outside of this vase, so we're going to have something that hangs over the edge of the vase to cover that tape area. You could, if you wanted to, pinch these ones as well. I'm going to leave them as they are. So we're going to get a purchase on each of the squares. But you could pinch in between those to give you a nice big space. If you're using hydrangeas, for example, you want a fairly large opening there to be able to put them in and out easily. I don't have hydrangeas, so that's not what I'm using. What we'll do first of all is fill in the outside, fill in the greenery. So when we place the flowers in, it's going to make it easier for us to see how many we need, and it's much more difficult to do what we call basting. So fill out the base of your design first. And this is woolly bush. I talked about that in one of the earlier episodes. Comes on a stem like that, an Australian native from Western Australia. What I've done is just cut it up into sections that will fit neatly into the design. But what I will do, I'll probably put 3 in each of the sections of here, and I'll leave a couple of gaps where I only put maybe 1 in, or none at all. So I put the other flower material in, and then I'll put these in afterwards. But to try and put these in after you put the plant material in will mean you're fiddling with the design. It will never look quite right. So give yourself a base to work from, first of all, then put the flowers in. I just want to show you what I've done when I've been cutting up these, because the woolly bush comes with it branches out. So that part gives me pieces that are going to cover more area than the straight, obviously. So I'll keep those at the corners, because it just gives me a bit more coverage with the plant material. We might turn it like that because it's got some cut ends on it. They're not particularly attractive, so we'll hide it in one of the other areas. So, how to do that? Simply cut down where it branches out. That'll give you another section, and then come down to the length of where you want it to go into your water. Cut again. And as we talked about, no foliage underneath the water that's in there, so just strip that off. Easily enough on this. On most of the plants it's easy enough. And then just drop it in to the area where you want it to go. So I'll quickly fill out the rest of the space for you. You can talk amongst yourselves while you're watching this. Just making sure I've got all of the corner pieces in first. So what I'm doing is just making sure I've got all of the outside material. It's like doing a jigsaw puzzle. We'll do the frame first, and then we'll fill in the rest a little bit later. So, pretty much done with that now. So there we have the outside of the frame. Obviously I haven't brought that down over the tape, and probably what I'll do in the end, because this is not a plant material that lends itself to draping over, is that I'd probably put some ribbon or some other coloured material around the edge of that that's sympathetic with the design that we're doing, but gives us an opportunity to cover up our mechanics, to cover up the tape that we've done. I might get away with that. You don't look too close. Right, now we're going to put in our feature plant material. These are proteas off a tree at a farm. Straight in. What we need to ensure, again we talked about in one of the earlier episodes, is about the height that you're going. So we want it to be at least the height of the container and a little bit more. And that one is probably been cut a little bit too short, so what I'll do is group these together so that I can force the issue by leaving some of the foliage on. You don't want them all at the same height. So, make sure when you're grouping them, you bring them together. Clean some of that off. And because they probably won't stay together like that, I will utilise the trusty elastic band to hold them together in that grouping. Now I'm going to trim these stems down because I want the length of that longest one, and then the foliage and the volume that's here where it's going to meet the grid will hold it in place. As you can see. Now what that needs is some stabilising around it, so we'll get some of our foliage in that same grid space that I've put the proteas in, and that will hold them in place. So, looks different from every angle. This is what I meant about, it had an escape. And you can see that you could almost have it like that. You might not necessarily need anything else in that design. Different from every angle, interesting from every angle, not just different, but interesting from every angle. What we could do to add to this design is have something that moves us from this big shape to the smaller shapes. And so we look for some plant material. It's called transitioning plant material in technical terms, but we look for something that is smaller than this, bigger than this, that will give our eyes the opportunity to travel through the design and go from this big shape and this block of colour into something else. And so I've picked some kangaroo floral, again an Australian native. And the beauty of kangaroo floral, this is how it comes, is that you'll get a number of flower heads on the stalk. And so you just again cut them up into the lengths that you want to use for your design. And I've kept a couple of stems. I just wanted to show you, this was a stem that came from some of the pieces that I've already cut off, but it's got such a wonderful shape that what I'll do is keep that. It will dry out to a nice brown colour, but it will be a good bit of plant material dry that I can use in something else at some point. And I also kept this one because it's got a couple of extra growths on it, and I'll probably take the leaf off, the foliage off, because it doesn't dry as well as the stem will. But it will give me something interesting to top into a design at some point. To make the design interesting. So we're just looking for places in the grid where we can put this material that adds another dimension to your design. Sympathetic colour, as I said, it's the shape and the colour that will make the design pleasing to your eye. So when you're out looking about, don't just look for the big flowers, look for the little ones as well, because you can always use them to bolster a design, fill it out, make it a little bit more interesting. Now with some of these, we might be able to get them to come down. So see with that one, I've got it, pushed it in far enough that it's coming down a little bit over the edge of the design, so we're not seeing the tape as predominant as it might have been whilst we were working on the design. Try not to have your plant material all at the same level, because your eye's just going to feel like the design is flat. So in and out is the way I remember it. And that's how easy it is to put something together using that sticky tape grid. Probably the other easy way to remember about the placement of the plant material is that on a plant, when it's naturally growing, not everything is going to be at the same angle or the same height. So for our eyes to be happy with the design, we need to replicate that in some way. So see now on that corner, in and out. So that your eye goes down into the design and then comes back out to look at all of the other stuff. Magic, I had enough to do it all. So there we are. That's our design using the grid method. In the next video, I'm going to show you how you can use your potted plants, particularly if they're foliage or succulent type ones, and add a little bit of added interest by putting some flowers in it. It is a particular design style that's used in competitions, not very often, but it's the sort of thing that anyone at home can do to add a little bit of sparkle to their potted plants. So I'll see you in the next episode.